Hey there folks, and welcome to another Factorio Mod Spotlight. I'm Exterminator, and thank you so much for joining me today. And in this Spotlight, we are going to be covering the Li or Lee colorful mod. I'm not exactly very sure how to pronounce it, but this is a very new mod, and it's mostly a visual mod. There are a few other non-visual things it adds. Well, I guess they're all visual, but the main thing that this does, which you can probably see now, is it very much kind of amplifies the brightness and colorfulness of materials at night, either on the ground or in inserter hands or on belts. As you can see, it almost looks like the inserters are throwing the items, which is actually really quite funny because it's so dark and everything else is lit up. And I think this is very cool for a couple reasons. Now, here it is a bit exaggerated because I have no lights in my factory since I use the light mod that surrounds you in light. I forget exactly what it's called. Let's take a look here. I use the Afraid of the Dark mod, but for streaming purposes. But if you didn't have this, you would probably have some lights scattered around, but you probably wouldn't have them like in your bus. And it maybe would be hard to tell sometimes where some materials are. And I think this is really nice. So, if you had a light like every so often or so, this would maybe look a little better. But generally speaking, I think it is still really nice to have your materials kind of lit up and highlighted at night. Now you will notice a light source here, and this is generated by the flare capsule, which the mod adds, which I threw out here. So you can throw one of these flare capsules, and the range is out to here, and it will light along the way, and then it will sit there and provide a very dim light. And I think this is actually a very good amount of light that it provides. And then you can see this one just expired. So it does last a couple minutes. I threw that maybe like a minute and a half ago, 2 minutes ago. So it's not like infinite. But overall, I think this looks pretty good. Again, it's very dark in my factory because there's no actual lamps. But if you had them scattered around, this still would be pretty helpful. And there are quite a few settings with this. So there's a startup section here, which is very important. It took me a while to figure this out, and it caused some issues in me attempting to do this. So down here, this is off by default. You need to enable the colorful materials on startup before you load into your game. I figured it would be on by default, so I didn't mess with it, and I was confused as to why it was not working. But you need to enable this. The flares are enabled by default. These two are off, so you could simplify the flare recipe if you wanted, but it's really not complicated to begin with. You could disable night vision if you want, and then you could adjust accumulator capacity, and because there is an adjustment to the day and night cycle length, and then the capacity multiplier as well. Because in the map settings here, there's quite a lot of settings, and all this is default in the mod, by the way. So you can do multi-surface mode. You want basically it will attempt to determine which surfaces represent outdoor areas, like if you're doing space exploration or something. The day length multiplier. So this is where the accumulators would the accumulator setting would take effect. So it says multiplier on the total length of a day-night cycle. A vanilla day is 6 minutes, 56.6 seconds. Example, setting this to 4 will result in 27-minute, 47-second days. Warning, you can change the setting anytime, but cumulative capacity modification requires a restart, which is what we looked at. I think this is maybe a little bit long. Personally, I would change this to like 1, which I think is just default. It won't let you set it to 0. And then the dusk start time. So by default, 0.5. The midpoint between evening and morning is midnight. So you can change all of these: the dusk start time, evening start time, morning start time, dawn start time, and then start time of the day the game will start at, basically. So pitch black nights. This was 60 by default. So 100% is complete darkness, 0% is vanilla, which I set it to. 60 was even pretty dark. You can also set it so the sun never rises if you just want to play in the dark. That's cool. Maybe if you want to use like pitch black mod or something with that. And then grace before first night in minutes. So delay before the first night comes in minutes if you want to do that. But I'm going to quickly change this, and we can change these on the fly since they're map settings. And it should update. Although it looks like perhaps not immediately. It may need to wait until the next night which in this case won't happen because I use cheat mode to make it night all the time for this demonstration. So I think we need to wait until the next night. But this would get quite dark. So there you go. That's the mod. I think it's pretty neat. It just kind of helps you see your materials and stuff. Because if you weren't using pitch black or night vision, and you didn't have lamps like literally everywhere, it can be hard to see parts of your factory and what's on the belt. So at the very least, this illuminates like your bus and what's feeding into where and stuff. So there we go. That's a mod. I hope you enjoyed. There's a link in the description to the mod portal where you can check it out if you'd like. And if you have any questions and thoughts, leave them below. If you did enjoy, a like on the video is much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to keep up with all future content. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.